working in a current affair magazine called Spectre, and we have 50 minutes, almost an hour, to cover one object, and which is luxurious in these days when we only make short reports for 2 or 3 minutes. What we tried to do was to go to the border where within the range of the rockets from Hamas, to see whether the argument used by the Israeli forces for entering Gaza, starting the war, was true. Of course, we have excellent correspondents that could do that job, but instead of doing so, we sent a soft-hearted, non-Middle East expert to see this with fresh eyes. We came to Sderot and Ascalon, and we met with eyewitnesses. I was an eyewitness coming there for the first time, and I met with Israelis who, of course, were eyewitnesses, but they were all biased. I think it's very important to remind us that we are all biased. We all try to collect information that will support the view we already have. We're all like that. And these people in Sderot and Ascalon brought us around, showing where the rockets had fallen down, and they all lied, in the sense that they exaggerated the numbers. They tried to make casualties look bigger than they actually were. And we went, as Fredrik said, from we saw the war going on from the hill, and we knew that in Gaza there is something going on that is not comparable to what we see here. But still, my aim was to try to see if the fear is reliable and trustworthy, and the conclusion was yes. In this area, these rockets that almost never hit their goal, they fall as many as 8,000 to 10,000 during the 8 years. And if I were to live there with my family, with my kids, I would not accept it. It was totally unacceptable to live in an area where the siren will go off and there's 15 seconds, in Ascalon 30-40 seconds, to get a shelter. Because you can say, okay, casualties are smaller, but the fear created by these big New Year's Eve rockets coming down is for real. So I reported back that yes, it's possible to understand the people living in this area, 800,000, 1 million people, suffering from this fear. And if I were to live there as an Israeli, I would try to force my government to do something about it. I would not accept it. But it's another question then, which of these eyewitness reports could you trust and which not? We all seem to agree on that. Reporters and journalists we have ethical and professional standards, so that we have to report, we have to turn the camera the other way around to see if the person we're talking with is giving correct information. So that's a big difference in my opinion. That is that when you meet with people that try to give numbers, figures, trying to give you information that will support the suffering they have, you should not trust them. But if you meet with doctors in a hospital that tell the story about what this day has been like since the last report yesterday, then I tend to believe much more in that kind of story, because you don't pretend to give the full picture. You just say that here we see this, we see that. And I don't think that a professional doctor has an agenda to overdo this and to give me the wrong image of what you have experienced that day. So that's people telling stories about what they have experienced are much more trustworthy than spokespersons, and all people in all these conflicts are spokespersons. So that's my experience from this.
Thank you. This was a very long and very